Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a huge shift happening in Indian agriculture, the move away from chemical dependency and towards something called regenerative farming. We're going to break down step by step how this transition isn't just possible, but actually really profitable.
So let's just jump right in with a question that, a lot of farmers are grappling with all over the country. Does it feel like you're trapped, stuck between the soaring costs of things like fertilizers and pesticides, while the very soil under your feet just seems to be getting less and less productive every single year?
And this number, wow, it really tells the story. A massive 86% of small farmers in India find themselves caught in these tough debt cycles. And when you look at the data, a huge reason for this is the spiraling, just unsustainable cost of all those chemical inputs.
And look, this isn't just a string of bad luck. It's a real financial and ecological trap that's been tightening its grip for decades. It's created this cycle of dependency that's getting harder and harder to escape.
So what this really boils down to is a crazy situation where your input costs have shot up by 300%. Farmers are spending more and more, only to get less and less from soil that's just exhausted. It's created a triple crisis: a crisis of debt, a crisis of land degradation, and, of course, a health crisis for farming families.
But what if there was a way to break out of this cycle? A way to work with nature instead of constantly fighting against it? Well, let's take a look at the solution that's really starting to take root all across India, one that offers a path to both a healthy environment and real economic freedom.
This is the core idea right here. It's not just about trying to sustain what you currently have. No, this is about actively rebuilding your land, making it more productive and more resilient with every single season that passes.
Okay, now this is a really important point, because it's something a lot of people get mixed up. This quote just nails the distinction. It's a simple but really powerful way to get the difference in philosophy. One is defensive, avoiding the bad stuff. The other is proactive, building the good stuff.
And this chart, it lays it all out crystal clear. See, organic farming is often about swapping out a chemical input for an organic one. But regenerative farming, that's a complete system transformation. It's about healing the land from the ground up, turning farms into places that actually capture carbon and restore natural cycles.
All right, so how does this actually happen on the ground? Let's walk through it, because making this transition, it's a journey, right? It's not some overnight fix. But as you're about to see, the results are absolutely worth the patience.
Now, this timeline is so important because it's all about setting the right expectations. In that first year, as your soil is basically detoxing from the chemicals, yeah, you might see a small dip in your yield, but stick with it. By year 2, you're pretty much back to where you started, and by year 3, you're actually producing more than before, and on land that's way healthier and more resilient.
And this is where you feel the difference, like right away, in your pocket. Just look at this comparison. Your input costs totally plummet because you stop buying all those expensive chemicals and you start creating your own fertilizers and pesticides from stuff you have on the farm. This is how you break that debt cycle.
And here's another number that's a total game changer. Regenerated, healthy soil acts like a giant sponge. It can hold up to 70% more water. Now think about what that really means. If you have a weak monsoon, that could be the difference between having a harvest and a total loss. It means less time irrigating, lower electricity bills for your water pump, and a farm that can actually handle the shocks of a changing climate.
All right, so you might be thinking, this sounds great, but where do I even begin? Well, the best news is you can get started with almost zero cash investment just by using what you already have.
Look, the absolute key here is to start small. Don't feel like you have to convert your entire farm all at once. The smart way to do this is to just pick a small test plot, maybe half an acre or 1 acre. Learn by doing, see the results with your own eyes, and use the free resources that are literally all around you.
And here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. This is a recipe for Jiva Mrit, which is basically a super powerful microbial mix that kickstarts life back into your soil. And as you can see, you can make it yourself with simple stuff that you can find locally.
And one more thing to keep in mind, you don't have to do this alone. There are a bunch of government schemes out there, like the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, and plenty of NGOs that are ready to give you both financial and technical support to help you make this switch.
But, does this stuff actually work in the real world? Let's look at the proof. Because this isn't just a theory. It's changing the lives and the livelihoods of farmers all over India right now.
I mean, just listen to this story from Ramesh Gaud in Telangana. It says everything.
a massive drop in his costs, a huge jump in his income, and, most importantly, he got free from his debt. And his is just one of thousands of stories just like it, showing how this way of farming creates real economic freedom.
And what's just incredible is who is leading this charge. Over 500,000 women farmers in India are successfully driving this change. They're often doing it through these powerful community-based self-help groups, where they share knowledge and support each other. It's amazing.
So, when you boil it all down, the takeaway is pretty clear. The choice is really between a cycle of rising debt and dead soil, or a cycle of regeneration that leads to lower costs, living soil, climate resilience, and of course, healthier food for your family.
So we'll just leave you with this question to think about. Because this transition, it's so much more than just a different farming technique. It really is a path to a more secure, a healthier, and a more prosperous future. And it all starts right there, in the soil beneath our feet.